Good morning, fellow traders. It's Black Coffee Trader. Today is Friday. Happy Friday, July the 25th, and it's time to do the daily trade plan. Spent a little bit of time this morning here going over the charts to kind of see where we're at. I've had a good week, and I really want to be careful with it, and I don't want to mess it up today. If I have a red day, I want to keep it very, very small. As you can see, I do have my new Apex account, which thank goodness it had been a long time since I had not had any Apex accounts, and I had lost all the ones that I did have. So thankfully passed one yesterday, and so we're back in the saddle there. And while we're on the subject of Apex, right there's the banner popping up. They have a 90% off sale that runs through Tuesday. So not, morning trade plan is the goal here, but I do want to mention that there's a 90% off sale. Yours truly is going to be loading up on some evals. Trust me. I really want to get to 20 funded accounts with Apex. I love that scalability. And yeah, there's just a lot of opportunity with Apex. So anyway, for those of you that need Apex accounts or use my code, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Again, BCT gets you the best deal with Apex, Take Profit Trader, and also TradeZella journaling software. So anyway, enough of the commercial break. Let's dive into the charts themselves. So as far as the NASDAQ goes, we're still in this channel. And the one thing that I noticed that's pretty bullish to me, if you look at here is let's see, today is Friday. This would be Thursday. Wednesday's trading. Wednesday's session high came in right about here, kind of a wick high, but for the most part, the highs were right around the lows from yesterday. So we took previous highs and made them new lows, which is really bullish for an uptrend. The other thing that I really like is right now you see I've had this marked out and I was not sure that I would keep it. This level right here around the 365s, which was the overnight high from Monday, I believe. And we have had a lot of reactions in the overnight session Wednesday night, and we had some reactions yesterday at that level toward the end of day. It might have actually been at the end of day. And then we are holding that level here this morning as well. So the fact that we took previous highs, made them new lows, and now we have kind of done the same thing. I mean, I know this is pre-market and this could change. We could see a big pullback and we might, that's fine. However, at the moment, this looks very good for continued upside here. So that being said, again, it is pre-market. It's what, 7:40 here in the morning. And we definitely could see a deeper pullback. Anything really, I mean, the pullback longs game is still in play. There's not a lot of short opportunities. This is a bullish trend. If you look at this little trend channel, we are still in it. And we again, made new all-time highs here in the overnight session last night. So very, very bullish on the market right now. If we do get pullbacks, obviously you'd have this level here. You've got these highs coming in here. The opening high from Tuesday, coming in right here at the 23,346. If you get pullbacks to any of these levels, that could really set up nice pullback longs. If we get to the low of day, which is if we get that, it'll be on the pivot point of this trend line. So I'm not a trend line trader. This is just here because of this channel, but a pullback to any of these levels would be pretty nice. If we start to lose this, we could see some short-term down selling pressure and kind of refuel. So just keeping it in perspective. Overall, I think this market is very, very bullish and really looking for a pullback long. So that's the game plan on the NASDAQ. ES, very similar, but the ES, I have just not seen the ES rip at the rate it's been ripping here this week, last several days. We have really had a beautiful move. The one thing I'm cautious of is, again, we have very few levels. The only thing I have marked beyond the Monday highs, the only thing I've got marked here is this high coming in from Wednesday. And we have some reactions here. I may or may not keep it, but it is a high of day and it is at kind of a pivotal point right at the moment. So I'm definitely going to keep that. We're bouncing off that, so to speak, a little bit here. Made new all-time highs in the overnight session here as well as we did yesterday. So the ES has really, really, really been strong. Excuse me, sorry, I had to cough. And we had the low of day coming in yesterday here. So really, this is it. It's the high and low of day and possibly this area. I don't think that'll stay in play for market open. I think we'll get some kind of a movement here, but I could be wrong. Now, here's the thing where if if I was to short, there is a potential for a short under yesterday's low down into the Monday highs. If that occurs, if you get a beautiful break and retest, that could set up a very nice short down into these areas, but obviously that is very short-term short, so to speak. And just because that occurs doesn't mean that, hey, this market is falling apart and, you know, now things are horrible and the bears are in control. That's not what that would be. That would literally be just a move to reclaim this move up and really refuel. A pullback long to this level would be very, 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 very nice, honestly. I would not be sad to see a pullback to here to refuel to go higher. And I think at some point you're going to get that. You have a gap up, you're going to get a gap back down to fill that at some point. So not saying it'll happen today, but that's just something to be on the lookout for. If we get a break and retest, short-term short in a bullish trend is very much okay, as long as we understand what we're trying to accomplish in the trade we're trying to set up. So again, the big picture really would be a pullback to the low of day from yesterday. If we get that for another push higher, definitely take that, but we need to be on the lookout for that short. Now, that's not to say that you need to take that short. Obviously, maybe the better thing to do would be just to let this market ride down and reload here and push higher if that occurs. I would look for this. There's enough space, there's enough area here that you could set up a pretty nice short trade, but it would be one where we would be taking profits very much on the way down here and getting out of that trade completely by this time, just because there's probably going to be a pullback long there. Dow Jones definitely have kind of a bit of a flag, you know, a breakout bullish pattern here potentially. We are bouncing off this 800 level, and obviously we took that trade yesterday. Beautiful trade. That was actually the only trade I took, but a very nice trade on the funded accounts yesterday, and we've kind of retested. We're really just creating this kind of bear flag, or bull flag, I should say. So definitely looking for that. This is just one of those, does the opportunity present itself? Do we get some kind of a retest of this 800 to get in another long position there? If not, you could set up a little short here. Again, kind of a short-term short based on the ES that we just talked about. The concern, though, is the daily 20. The daily 20 is moving right up here above the CPI high print. So that is bullish. That is something that is lifting, typically lifts this market higher. So I think a pullback into the low of day from yesterday or this 800 level would be nice to set up a long, or possibly if this thing just shoots up, maybe we get a break and retest at some of these other levels on the Dow Jones. If we get a push up and a break and retest above high of day from yesterday, that is a trade that I really, really need to take if that occurs. I have just done so well with high and lows of days recently, so I really want to keep that in perspective if that sets up. But things looking bullish on the Dow Jones as well. Russell kind of sold off a little bit here the last couple of days. You know, we made this high, really that was on Wednesday, and yesterday's high was a little bit lower, and it's almost a little bit of that same bull flag, but not quite as prominent as it is here on the Dow Jones. But again, we could be setting up pullback longs here, or, you know, retests of this area around the CPI print. You've got several levels, the CPI high, CPI low. We've got this level with a lot of reactions coming around the 2260s. And so we might get some pullback longs. And again, I think the interesting thing is none of these markets are exactly the same. They're just not. Yesterday, the Russell seemed to kind of pull or slowly dwindle down. And the ES, or the Dow Jones, the trade that I was in the morning, really had a beautiful rip up, and then we kind of trailed down. But the Russell sold off a little bit more yesterday. So we just have to be careful, and maybe this is just not a market that I'll be interested in today. Maybe there's nothing that really sets up. But again, the levels are here. I check these on the 4-hour chart, make sure they show up. I'm not just drawing intraday levels on the 5-minute, like here's a level and here's a level, and you know, that doesn't work very well. We need to do it on a bigger picture, so we know that we have you know, an actual level that holds value. So if we get moves to one of these levels, we'll look at break and retest, whether it's to the short side or to the long side. And obviously some of that is going to be dependent on what do the other markets do. If any of you guys trade the Russell, one of the things that I've noticed, and I do this to some degree, but it seems like the Dow Jones and the Russell trade somewhat similarly and sometimes run in a little bit of an opposite perspective than do the ES and the NASDAQ. So for what it's worth, it is something to pay attention to potentially. So again, big picture today, pullback longs. It's Friday. Let's not screw this week up. I've had a great week. I have not lost on my funded accounts this week, which is awesome. That streak will end sometime, and it could end today, and it's not a big deal if it ends. Red's red, and losing trades are losing trades, but it is fun. It's fun to be on a winning streak. So hopefully we can end today on a positive note, and yeah, just keep our head on straight and look for opportunities on the markets once again today. So have a good Friday. Take care. Trade well today. And we'll catch up with you next week. Until next time, take care, my friends, and so long.